This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Cozy season is ahead, and you'll be spending way more time inside. Is your home ready? Don't worry. With Wayfair, you can upgrade your space without breaking the bank. Score up to 70% off during their Labor Day clearance on furniture, area rugs, mattresses, and more. Plus, surprise flash deals you can't miss. Whether it's one room or the whole house, Wayfair has pieces for every style and budget.
Shop Wayfair's Labor Day clearance now through September 7th at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
What happens when you get everything you thought you wanted and discover that it no longer makes you happy? You have the career, the home, the financial stability. You've made sensible decisions, worked hard, and built a life that other people might even be jealous of. So how come you sometimes fantasize about leaving your life behind? And why does that fantasy immediately make you feel guilty? That guilt may have caused you to tell yourself that you should be more grateful. I want you to consider another possibility. You have grown. Your life has not grown with you. Let's discuss on this week's podcast episode. Hello, and welcome to How to Travel Full-Time, the podcast about how to use travel to create a life that feels more like your own. I'm your host, certified professional coach, TEDx speaker, and New York Times featured travel reset catalyst, Heather Markel. I'm excited to help you lean into your own transformative travel experience with tips, real-life stories, and strategies from someone who's been living the travel lifestyle since 2018. Let's jump in. The confusing part when you have this misalignment where your life looks perfect on paper, but feels wrong for you, is that your life may look very successful from the outside. Your career is moving forward, your finances are stable, your family and friends may even admire what you've accomplished. But something feels really deeply off. You might be waking up depressed, uneasy, or with that kind of twisted feeling in your gut. And responsibilities that you once managed easily might have started to feel draining. Your life outside of work might feel like a series of distractions from the disappointing fact that you're spending most of your life and time feeling so unhappy. And then another voice in your head speaks up because, yep, there tend to be a lot of those voices, and no, it does not make you crazy. And that other voice says things like, "What's wrong with you?" And probably speaks funny too, right? "You have a good life. Other people would be grateful to have what you have. You worked so hard for this." And perhaps that most paralyzing question, "Who are you to want more?" Hope you appreciate my little voice there. Today, I want to talk about why gratitude and dissatisfaction can both exist together and how to recognize when you've grown beyond a life that once fit you beautifully. So let's start with talking about the guilt of having a good life, because we usually give ourselves permission to make a change when something has clearly gone wrong. You know, a toxic job gives you an obvious reason to leave. A destructive relationship makes the need for change easier to understand. A financial crisis or a health problem might force us to reconsider how we live. Change, though, becomes much harder to justify when your life is objectively good. So when you start wondering what's really wrong with your life, and all you see is that your career is successful, your income lets you live comfortably, your colleagues respect you, and you have a lovely place to live, but you still feel increasingly disconnected from your own life. That disconnect then ends up creating guilt because you're judging your dissatisfaction and you think it cancels out gratitude. So here's something to consider. Instead of beating yourself up for feeling unhappy with your life and making this a sort of either or kind of conversation in your head, make room for both dissatisfaction and gratitude. Here are some examples. You can appreciate what your career has given you and want your life to revolve around something else. You can feel grateful for your home and crave the freedom to leave it for a while. You can love the people in your life and still need time that belongs entirely to you. You can feel proud of everything that you've accomplished and acknowledge that the person who wanted those things has changed. Both truths deserve space. You built a good life and you've become a different person. I still remember after years of holding this dream in my mind of taking a break to travel for a while, sitting in my office chair and staring at my computer screen, and this would happen a lot. Once it started happening once, it was like every day. I would sit there in the chair, stare at my computer screen and think, I cannot possibly sit here at this desk and do this for another 17 years. But then that voice in my head would say, how are you going to afford life without this job? How will you get health benefits? Basically, every negative fear possible would surface in my mind and leave me feeling trapped in this unhappy cycle of feeling unhappy with my life, but also feeling I should be grateful for it. Now, a few months after I left my job and began traveling, I had a conversation with a colleague I had not spoken to for ages. In fact, I remember being bummed that I hadn't heard from her for like a year or two. So on that call that we finally had, I was in Vietnam. She told me that she had been avoiding me at work because I had become some awful version of myself and she just couldn't stand talking to me. But now she told me that she could feel how authentic I had become. And hearing that experience of me from someone I highly valued and her experiencing me as inauthentic and then finally authentic gave immense meaning to my journey and made me realize even more how powerful my own travel reset was to my life and why I was right to do it. And looking back, I can see how deeply I appreciated the life I had built because it gave me experience, security, relationships, and accomplishments that still matter to me. But I had also become a different person from the one who originally chose that life. I just kept expecting the same structure to fit every version of me. Now, if you're beginning to recognize this feeling in yourself, I'm offering a free webinar called How to Use Travel to Transform Your Life, even when you have a busy career. I'm going to show you how intentional travel can give you the distance and perspective to reconnect with yourself, understand what's changed, and begin imagining a more aligned next chapter while protecting everything that you've worked hard to build. You can sign up to be notified about it using the link in the show notes underneath this episode. Now, let's look at some of the signs that you might have outgrown your life. So sign number 1, your accomplishments feel different. So there might have been this time when reaching the next professional milestone felt really exciting. A promotion was really important to you. A raise felt validating. Recognition motivated you. You could see a clear relationship between working hard and building the life you wanted. Now, the milestones might feel strangely empty. You reach one, and almost immediately you wonder, is this it? You may still perform well. You might still care about doing good work, The achievement simply creates a different feeling than it once did. Your definition of success may have changed. Because maybe success used to mean establishing yourself, proving what you could do, becoming financially secure, or building a respected career. And now, success to you may mean things like freedom, time, your life having meaning, adventure, connection, the ability to decide how your days are spent. Your accomplishments still have value, but the ones you're having right now may simply answer questions that are no longer central to your life. Sign number 2, you feel most like yourself when you're away. This is a big one. Pay attention to who you become when you travel. Do you feel more curious, more energetic, more social or creative? Do you speak to strangers, try unfamiliar things, walk for hours, or become interested in subjects that you barely notice at home? Maybe do you feel lighter when you step away from your job title and those responsibilities and the role that you're used to playing when you're home? Travel can remove enough of your familiar environment for a forgotten part of yourself to reappear. And that explains why returning home after that vacation can feel so uncomfortable. You may feel disappointed that the trip is over, but you may also miss the version of yourself that you rediscovered while you were away. Each time you feel more alive somewhere else, you learn something about yourself. Your experience may reveal that your everyday life just leaves too little room for essential parts of who you are. Sign number 3, you fantasize about escape. Maybe you're searching for flights during your lunch break, or you watch videos about people living abroad. You might be researching sabbaticals, career breaks, long-term rentals, and countries where you could stay for several months. Maybe you even have a secret spreadsheet. You imagine shutting your laptop, packing a suitcase, and disappearing somewhere where no one can ask you, "Hey, got a minute for a quick call?" That becomes an hour long and generates a week's worth of work. Yet the purpose of that time away may still feel unclear. And that uncertainty makes sense. You have spent years responding to deadlines, expectations, and other people's needs. And so your own voice has been competing with a great deal of other people's needs and opinions. So this desire to escape often arrives before the plan does. It's an early signal that something within you wants attention. So get curious about the fantasy. What do you imagine feeling once you're away? Could it be relief, freedom, possibility, a sense of being yourself again? The emotion you're seeking may reveal more than the destination you're researching. Sign number 4, you keep applying small solutions to a deeper problem. When life feels wrong, and we feel that we have to keep living it as it is, we often try to make it slightly more comfortable. So we book a vacation, we schedule a spa weekend, we redecorate a room. Maybe we buy something expensive that briefly makes us feel as though change is happening. We promise ourselves we'll exercise more, create better boundaries, or stop checking email after dinner. And these things can make life more pleasant, for sure. But their impact has limits when the source of your dissatisfaction runs a lot deeper. A vacation can help you recover from exhaustion. A longer period away can help you understand why your everyday life keeps exhausting you. A new hobby can add enjoyment to your week. Time and distance can help you explore whether your work still reflects what matters to you. A better morning routine may make your current life run more smoothly. Space from your routine can help you decide whether the life itself still suits you. Smoother systems can improve the answer, but sometimes you need to ask a different question. Sign number 5. You're afraid to admit what you already know. You may already sense that something has to change. Admitting it, though, feels dangerous because your mind immediately jumps to the most dramatic possibilities, like quit the job, sell the home, end the relationship, move abroad, explain yourself to everyone you know. That imagined chain reaction can keep you silent, even make you try to stuff down your ideas and thoughts and ignore them. Recognizing that your life feels misaligned is simply the beginning of an honest conversation. Awareness gives you information. It gives you a chance to slow down, explore your options, and make thoughtful decisions. You can acknowledge your dissatisfaction before you know exactly what you want to do about it. So give yourself permission to ask the question without demanding an immediate answer, because your next chapter can emerge gradually. The career you have now may have been exactly right for you when you chose it. Your home may have represented something you deeply wanted at the time. The responsibilities you've accepted may have helped you build security, confidence, knowledge, relationships, and that sense of accomplishment. That version of your life served an important purpose. And yet we expect ourselves to evolve as humans while somehow expecting our lives to remain permanently aligned with the person we used to be. We change. Our values change. Our interests change. Our priorities change. What we need from work, relationships, travel, and time changes. So the life that helped you become successful may have completed its role in your story. The earlier chapter still matters. You're simply ready to ask what belongs in the next one. So every time you call yourself ungrateful, you shut down an important conversation. The question, what has changed within me, becomes what's wrong with me. Curiosity becomes shame. Instead of listening to your dissatisfaction, you argue with it. Shame keeps people living in misalignment long after they recognize it. Curiosity creates movement. You can feel thankful for what you have and curious about what you need now. You can honor the person who built this life and make space for the person you've become. You can protect your financial security while pursuing more meaning, freedom, and adventure. You can acknowledge your desire for change and take the time to make wise decisions. The goal is to understand which parts of your current life belong in your future and which parts have served their purpose and need to be left in the past. So here's a question I'd like to leave you with this week. What am I continuing to do because it still feels right? And what am I continuing to do because I'm afraid to disappoint the person I used to be? Or for that matter, because you're afraid to disappoint someone else. Think about your career, your home, your routines, relationships, responsibilities, and even your definition of success when you ask this question. And then complete these 2 sentences. I am genuinely grateful for, and then fill in the blank, and I am ready to reconsider, fill in the blank. Allow both answers to exist. So this exercise asks you for honesty rather than an immediate decision. and it can help you recognize where your current life and your present identity have drifted apart. So if today's episode made you think, this is exactly what I've been feeling, I'd love to help you explore what comes next. Join me for my free webinar, How to Use Travel to Transform Your Life, even when you have a busy career. You'll learn how to use intentional travel to step outside your familiar roles and routines, reconnect with the person you are now, and gain clarity about the life you want to create next. I'll show you how to begin with the transformation you're seeking and then build a thoughtful travel experience around your career responsibilities, finances, and future. Your travel reset might last a month, several months, or eventually become a full-time travel lifestyle, but the length and destination come later. First, you need to understand what you want this experience to change. Register for notifications about the free webinar using the link in the show notes below this episode. So in closing, wanting something different does not erase your gratitude. A changing definition of fulfillment does not make you selfish. And outgrowing a life does not diminish everything it gave you. You have grown. Now you have the opportunity to decide how your life can grow with you. The question is whether you're willing to listen to the person you've become. Talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. If this episode got you wanting more information about how to create the space for a travel reset, I invite you to visit the Travel Reset Planning Library. You'll find practical resources to help you explore where to go, what your reset could look like, how to afford it, and how to start planning without creating 17 spreadsheets and a small emotional support binder. You'll find the link to it in the show notes. And be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Until then, remember, you don't have to blow up your future to create space for a future that fits you better.